Technology, just not today. All right, so let's go ahead and open up the door and welcome everybody to Daily with Doc. Hope you're all having a fabulous day as we are getting in, letting people in, letting their audios and everything connect, and going on and off streaming on the 3 different areas that we're streaming. So if you are watching either YouTube or Rumble or Facebook and it doesn't look quite right, then no worries. We will get this replay reloaded because I've got it recording in 3 different areas just in case. My name is Becca Dukes. I am the hostess of this program, Daily with Doc, that is sponsored by dailywithdoc.com. Now, we are here to support an amazing community of people who have either sought out or found, or sought out and found that there are other ways to maintaining health that goes beyond sick management. Folks, our bodies were not designed to be supported by chemicals, not the chemicals that are created in a lab. I know everything has a chemical name, everything has its own classification and everything like that. But we're talking about using things that were naturally put on this earth so that our bodies can absorb and utilize and thrive. Because every cell in our body is connected. And when you give the body what it needs, it can do some amazing things. Now, the question is, okay, what does it need? We've got this organization saying this organization saying this. And I look at the data and everybody's getting sicker and sicker. That was what I was looking at anyway. So maybe you can relate as you are watching with us. And as I was getting sicker and sicker and not looking forward to what the next day was going to bring, I found Dr. Joel Wallach on the radio. Actually, somebody shared him with me. That's why I push. Folks, as you're listening to this program and you think of somebody that might be suffering or going through some of the things that Dr. Wallach is either talking about or another caller is presenting as a question to Dr. Wallach because they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, share this program with them. And if this program was shared with you by somebody specific, please get back with them and thank them. I mean, I continually thank the person that shared this program with me each and every day. Not every day anymore, but I tell them how thankful I am for them. Because without finding Dr. Wallach, I would not be here today, physically, mentally, emotionally. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the doctor who spent a lot of research hours, a lot of years figuring out what it is that our bodies actually need. And when those things are not there, saying, hey, we've got this condition, and this condition going on, and these nutrients are either really low or not there, or the ratios just don't look right. Let's figure out what it takes to get the body into that state where it's getting the nutrients, how many nutrients, the things that work together so that the body can actually absorb the nutrients and the cells can then thrive. So without further ado, I am proud and honored to introduce to you Dr. Joel Wallach, who has a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture. So he knows plants, folks. He knows what, comes of the ground, when it's there or not there. He's a doctor. He's worked with those patients that couldn't tell him what was wrong, but he was able to figure it out to the point of being able to save the white rhino from extinction, figuring out that cystic fibrosis, one, is not only found in humans, but 2, it's not genetic. And he got fired. And then found out what was the cause of Keyshawn disease. What was the cause of all of these children dying early, way before their time? And now we're looking at today with all these young athletes just dropping dead. And I know, Dr. Wallach, you're going to be talking about longevity today, if I remember right.
Yes.
Because you have been
I'll throw in
doing
there,
more research.
If I may interrupt at that point, I'll throw in Jerry
Okay.
Lewis, Jerry's kids and muscular dystrophy. You got rid of that one too.
Yes, so I was getting there.
Oh,
I was
sorry.
getting there. But that's okay. Because there's some days when you just absolutely love technology and you don't remember everything you wanted to say. So thank you for reminding me. And folks, that does big time fundraising to raise money to find a quote unquote cure. And then they're presented the cure. And then the person that presents the cure, because somebody else who had been fired for finding the cure for somebody else had found the cure for this too, presented it to them. And then the spokesperson, Jerry Lewis, and then he gets fired because they didn't want to find the actual cause and cure. That stops funding if you find the cure for something, right, Dr. Wallach? Because then you can't keep asking for money. No reason to. So, Dr. Wallach, welcome to Daily with Doc. Folks, all of you that are on with us today, welcome. If you have a question for Dr. Wallach, please do not wait to raise your hand. Raise your hand now. Because if we get to the end of the show, and I keep saying there's absolutely no possible way that we can get to your questions, and you are important. Your questions are important. The questions that you have, somebody else is going to have as well, more than likely. And the answers that are heard today that can be shared over and over and over with people for many, many years to come. Now, the content of this program is not meant to take the place of your product, not meant to, and the products are not meant to diagnose, treat, cure any diseases. But like I said, when you give your body what it actually needs, the body can utilize that in its cell production. So it has to become healthier and healthier and get out of that starvation mode and into surviving, not just surviving. So, Dr. Wallach, what do you have for us today?
Thank you, Becca, and thank you, team, for the whole team being here and that introduction. I want to go back to the old days. I want to go way, way back, okay? And that's because there's some famous sayings about the biblical times. The people who lived a long time give credit, of course, to the land flowing with milk and honey. Everybody's heard of the land flowing with milk and honey. And being a farmer, I kept looking in the writings from dairy cows. Was it from camels? Was it, from goats? Was it from sheep? Where was this milk coming from, the land flowing with milk and honey? There were no cows. There were no camels. There were no sheep. Okay. So where is that milk coming from? It was glacial milk. The water coming out from underneath the glaciers was white like milk. And they didn't know the chemistry of that water coming out from underneath the glaciers, but it looked like milk. So they said, oh, the people who live a long time live in the land flowing with milk and honey. Okay. Milk, glacial milk. Okay. Now, let's go back to the biblical days. And let's see here. These are before the flood. These are the dates that are recorded in the Old Testament before the flood. Adam lived to be 930. Seth lived to be 912. Enos lived to be 905. Canaan lived to be 910. Machaleel lived to be 895. Jared lived to be 962. Methuselah lived to be 969. Lamech lived to be 777. And Noah lived to be 950. Now, after the flood, the ages dropped a little bit. Shem lived to be 600. Arphaxad lived to be 436. Selah lived to be 433. Eber lived to be 464. Then it dropped big. Eber lived to be 239. Let's see here, Peleg lived to be 239. Rao lived to be 230. Serug lived to be 148. Nahor lived to be 205. Terah lived to be 205. Let's see here. Abram lived to be 175. Isaac lived to be 180, and Jacob lived to be 147. These are people who were getting the glacial milk, okay, obviously from the glaciers. And then in modern times, this just, came out in 1975, okay, in the Los Angeles Times. This was a story about a Russian guy by the name of Mahid Agayev, oldest citizen in an Azerbaijani village that numbers amongst its inhabitants 54 people over the age of 100, recently celebrated his 140th birthday, according to TASS, of the Russian newspaper. Now, here's the secret here. The mountainous village, okay, mountains, glaciers, okay, silt, the village of Tikyaband in the southern Soviet Republic is described as a village of centenarians. Okay, it is not uncommon for residents in that mountainous area in Azerbaijan and Georgia to reach 100 years of age. Soviet news agency did not say if Agayev was the oldest one there in the village. He said he is alert and continues his favorite occupation of wood carving. Shirali Mizmov, an Azerbaijani farmer, claimed to be the oldest man in the world, died in 1973 at the age of 168. Okay, now these are people who lived in the mountains where they're getting the silt from the glaciers, grinding up the rocks and turning the water in the creeks white with the silt. The silt suspended in the water turned the water white. And this is the land flowing with milk. It was glacial milk, not cow's milk. Okay, now this is all written up in great detail in the book, Rare Earths and Cures. Okay, in chapter 9. Chapter 10 goes into the whole history of glacial milk. The plant-derived colloidal minerals found in glacial milk is really, really quite crazy, the information you find in there, okay? And so I just urge you to get a hold of this book, and the information in there can add, as I've said many, many times, 25 to 50 healthy years to your life. This is not, what should I say? This is not just this is just not speculation. This is actually drop dead science, okay? Drop dead science, Rare Earths and Cures. Every family should have this book, and it goes into the sources of the why people live so long in the land flowing with milk and honey. It wasn't cow's milk, it wasn't goat's milk, it wasn't camel milk, okay? It wasn't sheep's milk, it was glacial milk, okay? And I spent many, many years looking for something that would say, oh yeah, they had a herd of cows in the Garden of Eden, and that's why it was, one of the earliest lands, milk and honey. But it turns out the location of the Garden of Eden is in a valley surrounded by, glaciers and volcanic mountains. Well, there you go. And then in modern times, we have what's called bottomland. That goes modern times, millions of years, okay, bottomland. And these streams would carry the silt from the glaciers grinding up the mountains down into the valleys. And it would flood. And when the floodwaters would recede, it would leave that silt on the soil in the valleys and would grow all the stuff there. Now, when humans came along, they would plow that silt into the soil, and people who owned bottomland, that was a big thing because their families lived a long time, they were healthier. But once they came up with electricity, after 1882, they were building hydroelectric dams to generate electricity. Hydroelectric dams dammed up the rivers. So guess what? No more glacial milk, no more bottomland. And so this is why suddenly now we have all this stuff going on with health and longevity, which is going backwards. Doctors just say, oh, just eat well, get everything you need. Well, that may have been true 1,000 years ago. Now, plants do not make minerals. Plants make vitamins, amino acids, fatty acids. That's fourth grade biology. You know, green plants take carbon dioxide out of the air and make carbon products, including vitamins, amino acids, and fatty acids, but plants cannot make minerals. If the minerals are not in the soil, plants won't grow. That's why I have deserts. They need certain ones. They need NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. And so once we gave up wood and coal as fuel, we gave up our source of minerals, which we have been using for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, long before the Old Testament. And then all of our modern technology, which gave us electricity, which in itself is not bad, but generating electricity, okay, shut off the supply of nutrients to us. And that's why we have all these new diseases nobody had ever seen before. They're not genetic, they're not autoimmune, they're just simple nutritional deficiency diseases caused by cutting off the flow of nutrition to the wild animals in the area, to the human beings, to the livestock. And that's why what we learned in the animal industry, okay? And that's why we don't have to have health insurance for animals like we have health insurance for humans. Farmers couldn't afford to have the veterinarian come out every day to treat his herd one by one by one. So we learned that if you give them these nutrients, all 90 essential nutrients in their food, we eliminate 600 different diseases, which afflict animals, vertebrates, as well as humans. And so when I was 9 years old, I'm saying, why aren't the animals getting the diseases we're getting? And that's when I made the decision to start eating animal food that had been supplemented, not just animal food, but had been supplemented with vitamins and minerals. And I got rid of problems, okay, which 20 doctors couldn't figure out, 20 medical doctors, okay? These are medical doctors, MDs. My parents took me to the best of the best, the most expensive in Missouri. 20 of them, they couldn't figure it out. And I figured it out and cured myself in 3 days. And 20 of them couldn't cure me in the 5 years they tried, okay? And so this is unimpeachable evidence. I urge you, everybody needs to, and they need to read it once a month. I don't mean one page a month. I mean, read the book, might take you a month. And then the next month, read it again. Next month, read it again. Yeah, there you go. The information, 25 to 50 healthy years to your life. Okay, well,
That's a lot of reading.
There
That's
you
a
go. I
lot.
can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Yeah, that's a lot of reading, Dr. Wallach, because it's not a super thin book.
Okay,
And
well,
there's a lot of information in here.
well, look up, let's see here, Glacial Milk, chapter 10. Read chapter 10 every month. Just read chapter 10 every month.
All right, I'll start with chapter 10, Dr. Wallach. I've been through this book probably twice, but not every month. So we'll work on chapter 10. So folks, work on chapter 10, Rare Earths. You can get this book at drjwallach.com. That's drjwallach.com. That is Dr. Wallach's website with his wife, Dr. Milan. And that is how they make their money, because Dr. Wallach does from Longevity, the company that he founded. He wanted to make sure that he was able to make the recommendations and promote his research, not so people can say, oh, well, you're only using these products because you make money from it. That's not the case here. The case is with his teams that make an impact and you actually get results. And he's proud, even though longevity and a paycheck, he is proud that he still can promote them, because you're continuing to get more and more people that have results. Now, there are going to be some times, Dr. Wallach, that people don't get the results that they're wanting. Whether they're doing that full-hearted, half-hearted, there's still something, Dr. Wallach, that prevents them from being able to reach their optimal goals when it comes to health. And Anthony is one of them. So I have his question here. He's been trying to raise his hand. So let me go ahead and see if we can get Anthony up. Anthony, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello.
There you go. So Anthony, share with us. You had said you've been on many of the products. You're still having a hard time getting a full night's sleep. You're waking up in intervals after 30, 60 minutes. So share with us a little bit about.
Yeah, so it's summarized. I've called it multiple times. You probably recognize me. Back
I
then,
recognize your voice.
back then it was like insomnia that you couldn't just really sleep at all. ADHD stimulants that kind of like started the whole thing. But now, since March 10th of this year until present day, every single night it switched to sleep fragmentation. That I wake up after 3 or 4 hours, and after that, I can only take sleep like 30-minute, 1 hour intervals if I'm trying to make up like 7,
Okay.
8 hours of sleep.
Okay, let me ask you a couple of quick questions here. Where are you from?
I was born here in Florida my whole life. I've been living in Florida my whole life.
Okay, you sound like you're from Russia or something like that.
Wow, no, I'm actually Hispanic. My parents are from Cuba.
Cuba, okay. All right. And then you have to appreciate that it's what you eat that affects what you absorb. What do you eat for breakfast every morning?
Sometimes I eat the 3 eggs because, like you told me before, eat 6 eggs a day. So sometimes I eat 3 eggs. Other times I eat.
Do you eat pancakes or waffles? Do you eat pancakes or waffles?
No, actually, barely. Only when I was a kid. So I eat pancakes or waffle.
Okay. Do you eat anything such as stuff like cereal, like oatmeal?
No, no. Only when I was a kid. Not
Okay.
now.
So what do you eat for breakfast?
Well, my appetite, like I'm skinny. I've always been skinny. I eat like at short bursts, like a lot throughout the day, but not like big meals because my appetite just
So
fills
you're
me
not
up.
telling me what you're eating. I'm asking you, what do you eat for breakfast?
Sometimes I even start sometimes like with lunch, like beef sandwich.
Okay, sandwich. Do you use bread on the sandwich?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's your problem. Bread is made from wheat. Okay, it has gluten in it. It destroys your intestines, so you cannot absorb nutrition. Might as well shoot yourself in the head and get it over with. Do not eat wheat, barley, rye, or oats. Do not eat wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Do not eat wheat, barley, rye, and oats in any way, shape, or form. Bread, bagels, cookies, cake, pancakes, waffles, cereal, spaghetti. You want to kill yourself? Eat spaghetti for lunch every day. Okay. Have hamburger sandwiches at dinner time. Okay. Have pizza. Do you ever eat pizza?
Yeah.
Do you use a gluten-free crust? No, you're too slow. Okay, no, you're just eating pizza. Okay, well, that's where you're getting your gluten. You're destroying your intestines, so you cannot absorb nutrition. That's your problem. You need to get rid of the bad food so you can absorb the nutrition. Okay, you're self-destructing there. So I want you to get a hold of the book, Rare Has Been Cures. I want you to get a hold of the book, The Wallach Revolution. Get those 2 books. Get rid of all the gluten out of your life. Also, you want to get a hold of the book, Dr. Wallach's Cooking Without the Bad Foods. Dr. Wallach's Cooking Without the Bad Foods. There's 300 pages and safe cooking methods. And it gives you also, let's see here. It gives you the good food, bad food list. Very important. Okay.
Okay.
So you're killing yourself with your diet, with what you're eating.
I did do that for like a month and a half,
It
and
doesn't
it's
matter.
not work. Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't matter. If you did it, up until last year, this could take you a long time to repair your intestines. Okay. You've been, how old are you now?
32.
32. So for 31 years, you were eating gluten. You're destroying your intestines for 31 years. Now you have to rebuild it and regrow it. Okay. Don't even say the word gluten. Stay out of the bakeries. Stay out of the restaurants, that make spaghetti and bread and all that kind of stuff. Tortillas. You have 100% corn tortillas, they're okay, but you cannot have wheat tortillas. If you're Hispanic, you cannot have tortillas or pan. which is made from bread, made from wheat.
And doctor, do you think, because that's what I search online, when you have sleep fragmentation, it's that you go and later in like Alzheimer's, dementia, or Parkinson's disease?
Those are all nutritional deficiency diseases. You're going to get them all if you don't straighten up. You're going to die 25 years early if you don't straighten up. It's that simple. It's that simple. You can't
So
cheat.
Dr. Wallach,
You cannot cheat. You cannot drink beer. Cerveza. Do you drink beer?
Yeah, actually, this weekend for Mother's Day, I did drink
Okay, well, there you
alcohol,
go. Well, there
and
you
that
go.
made it worse.
Cerveza is made from wheat. You cannot have it. You're killing your intestines every time you drink a can or a glass of beer.
so Dr. Wallach, I don't know if you heard what he said. He said, and it made it worse.
Yeah.
So Anthony, whether you have celiac disease or not, you have a very, very severe gluten intolerance. That is what is causing the issues that you're having. You're not able to absorb to absorb so that you get the most benefit of it. So you may have had some benefits, but you're not getting optimal benefits. It's like taking cigarettes away from somebody for, 31 days after they've been smoking for 30 years and expecting their lungs to be totally clear and have no lung issues. It's going to be a consistent thing because you go back to what you were doing before that caused the damage, you're going to get the same results. So if you get a good night's sleep and not have to deal with the fragmented sleep anymore, cut out the gluten, cut out the wheat, the barley, the rye, the oats.
And
That
if you
includes
don't have a
oatmeal,
glass of beer, if you can have some Japanese
rice beer.
yeah, made from rice, or also Australian and New Zealand beer made from rice. You can have that, but you can't have Budweiser made from wheat.
No, and read the labels because they do put on there. If it's a barley malt or anything that's a grain, you want to stay away from. Even on the things that are said to be, or once known as being from, like, take for instance, vodka from potatoes. Well, now they use wheat spirits in some brands. So read your labels, okay?
The answer is
I
yes.
didn't think that I was gluten intolerant because I was getting results. But once I cut the gluten out, wow. It was like,
Serious question, do you really think it's just the gluten though? Because when I go to a
It's-
hospital and they do blood work, they see all the vitamins, they say like I'm the most healthiest human that they like with vitamins in my blood.
So you have to appreciate, I'm a pathologist. And I see, I've seen thousands of dead humans, okay? And so I see the destruction that happens when people eat gluten, okay? And medical doctors, they will give you a medicine that will treat the symptoms. And you'll feel, oh my gosh, you gave me this medicine, the pain went away. But the damage is still there.
Mm-hmm.
So just getting rid of the pain isn't enough. But most medical treatments get rid of the pain. They never
And-
tell you to get off the gluten.
One more thing that I'd like to point out, Dr. Wallach, is in allopathic medicine, they have their parameters that they want to see different things within. Those parameters were set to help you survive, not necessarily thrive. So yeah, they may be saying that all your numbers and everything look great, still breathing air. Does that make sense? We want to do more than breathe air. We want to thrive. We want to flourish because we're not in, at least Dr. Wallach is not in, I'm not in this whole practice of sick management. Let's get beyond that because the body can do more than that.
Yeah, let me interject here if I may, Becca. The emergency room doctors in America, their life expectancy is 58.7. That's not very good for medical doctors. They publish that in their medical journals, okay? In the United States, depending on whose numbers you look at, our life expectancy is 73 to 75. Japan is 84.7, okay? They live 9-10 years longer than we do because they live on rice, primarily. Now, the funny one is China. have two communities. In northern China, they live on wheat, barley, rye, and oats, and their life expectancy is 71. In the south, their life expectancy is 76 because they, okay. And then, of course, the record in the industrialized world, okay, the record in the industrialized world, now it's very important to say the industrialized world, is in France. Jean Calment, she died in 1997, age 122 years and 164 days. And that record is holding. But when you look at the Hunzas from the Himalayan mountains, their life expectancy is 120 because they're getting they live up in the Himalayan mountains where they don't grow wheat. Okay, they just grow potatoes and that kind of stuff and vegetables, and they fish and so forth. And their life expectancy is 120. Many of them live to be 130, 140, 150. You don't hear about our medical doctors saying, oh, let's do what they do. Okay, they say, oh, just, I'll take care of you. Just come in, you got insurance, it'll pay for it. Hmm.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Wallach. So Anthony, keep going with your program, but look at your diet and take those things out of it that are on the bad foods list. You can find the bad foods list in the Rarest Forbidden Cures. You can also find it on our website, dailywithdoc.com. You can find it there and print it out. Take it with you to the grocery store. You can save it to your phone and bookmark it, whatever it takes, so that you can see the things that you need to focus on, which are the ones on the good foods list, and the things that you need to stay away from and not even put in your shopping cart. And those are the things on the bad foods list. Dr. Wallach, there's a question that I've been needing to ask you that's came in quite a while ago. And so Courtney has a client who is 49 years old, 165 pounds. She has had a brain tumor, which the surgery was in 2015, but she still has scar tissue that's causing seizures. She has narcolepsy, and she's really struggling with sleep as well, and also depression. So, Dr. Wallach, what would be that full recommendation that you would give? And this individual, she's on several different medications to try to help control and the sleep.
Okay, so she
What's
weighs
missing?
once again, how much does she weigh?
She's
She's getting rid of all the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no barley, rye, and oats, no sugar, no carbonated drinks, even the carbonated diet drinks and also carbonated water need to go. And then I want her to have 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, full dose everything twice a day. I want her to get 2 bottles a month of our MSM, so you can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch or dinner time. They're going to help rebuild cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, discs between her vertebrae, bone breaks, bone cells, skin, the meninges, which is the covering of the brain and so forth, connective tissue in the brain. I also wanted to have our collagen peptides, a scoop of that with her morning drink, scoop with her evening drink. I also wanted to have our synaptive. She needs 3 of those twice a day for the brain cells to talk to each other so that she can calm everything down. I wanted to have 3 servings a day of I-26. It can be the capsules, the powder, or the chewables. I like the chewables, okay? But when I run out of chewables, I'll take the capsules, okay? And they're designed to support maintenance repair of the myelin, the white matter of the brain, which makes up 25% of the brain weight and 25% of the spinal cord weight, okay? And when you're taking cholesterol lowering drugs and avoiding eggs and meat and stuff like that, this is when you get all these problems, okay? The human being requires cholesterol because it makes up 25% of your brain weight and 25% of your spinal cord weight. And that's why we came out with the I-26, okay? And remyelinate your brain and spinal cord, eliminate all those problems. And so I hope that answers those questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Wallach. And uncontrollable eating, that's because of nutrient deficiencies as well, isn't it?
That's correct. When you have, it's called pica, when you're just eating, that causes obesity. It's a mineral deficiency. You could get the book Rare Forbidden Cures, go to page 272, chapters 10 and 11, tells you how to collect the hair, where to ship it. It'll tell you what bad minerals like lead and mercury and uranium and stuff like that you have, in your body. And so it's worth getting that hair analysis because it gives you very specific information your doctor cannot give you from a blood test. You can't get this information from a blood test.
Well, and the thing about blood tests that I've learned, Dr. Wallach, is whatever I ate the day before, even though you do a 24-hour fast or 12-hour fast, that is going to be seen in the blood work.
Mhm.
So I could have been like a perfect angel eating 24 hours prior, and my blood work is going to look different than if I had been eating my favorite desserts the day before. So we want to make sure that we're really getting capturing that picture of what's going on. And that's what I like about the hair analysis, Dr. Wallach, because the nutrients are being used to create hair over time. You're taking about an inch off the back of your neck. And I did a video that I'm going to be posting with me doing it and submitting it. And then I'll be doing the whole interpretation and everything with you too, Dr. Wallach, someday soon. So let's go to the first hand that is up, Dr. Wallach, because we have several hands. We've only got about, oh goodness, 10 minutes left. Jane, go ahead and unmute yourself. You are the first hand that I see here.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm supposed to, well, I want to know about the blood pressure. I've been taking the Ultimate Daily Classic at 6 tablets a day. Originally it went down and now it's back up to 169 over 104, 101 over 102. What do you think?
Okay, quick question. Okay, are you taking the 90 essential nutrients and the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, or are you just taking the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets?
I didn't hear you.
Are you taking the 90 essential nutrients?
Oh, yes, I'm taking day of the night of 2, Tangerine 2. And I'm completely, I ended up being completely bent over. So I'm doing the collagen peptides, 2 scoops of that a day, 10 of the glucogel. I mean, I'm now back on college. I think that's originally a doctor told me to stop taking the collagen peptides that I was taking, and that was not good. So I'm back to my pills. So I'm trying to build, and I can begin to stand. Can you imagine? I have trouble just standing up straight. My back is felt so heavy. So I have to exercise maybe 2 hours a day. I'm taking
let me interrupt you here.
plus the blood pressure, right?
Okay, let me interrupt you here. Your back is a mixture of muscles, connective tissue, tendons and ligaments, cartilage and bones. And so when you're having back trouble, okay, you need to be taking all 90 essential nutrients.
Right.
Okay? And of course, we have the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, which is a Healthy Start Pack, and the glucogel. And then, of course, we have the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, and then the MSM and collagen.
Yeah, I'm essential fatty acids and the selenium.
Okay, good. Excellent.
The enzymes.
And this is forever. It's not until you feel better and then you slack off, because then within a couple of weeks you'll be back down in the hole again.
Right.
This is something that the average person doesn't think about. You have to, how often do you need oxygen?
Right.
Every day. You need oxygen every day. How long do you need water? Every day.
Right.
How long do you need the 90 essential nutrients? Every day. And this is what we learned in the farming industry. And that's why, you can afford to buy a hamburger. That's why you can afford to buy a lamb chop. That's why you can afford to buy eggs. Okay. Even though prices are going up a little bit because the cost of grain and stuff like that for the animals is going up. But because we don't have to have health insurance for chickens and turkeys and cows and pigs, so the veterinarian can come out to the farm every week, okay, and treat their diseases. We give them these 90 essential nutrients faithfully every day, and we've doubled their lifespans, eliminated 600 different diseases that we or humans are still plagued with, because we listen to the doctors when the doctors say, oh, don't waste your money on vitamins and minerals, just eat well, you get everything you need.
Right.
Well, that may have been true over 1,000 years ago, when you're using wood as fuel and putting the wood ashes into your garden and into your food because of all the minerals